Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news. In a recent video uploaded to social media, Aljamain Sterling gives us an update on his weight cut. Here's the clip.
Good work today, grappling, striking, just getting the sweat off, getting the weight off. Weight out of 142.7. Gonna have about a liter and a half of water tonight, piece of salmon. That's it, one more day of hard work.
Aljamain also clarified comments he made on Andrew Tate after the UFC champion came under scrutiny recently for being seen with him in Abu Dhabi.
So I quote tweeted somebody that said what everybody else was saying, that they were coming down on me for it. And I was agreeing with the tweet. And I said, you're right. I 100% agree with you that Andrew Tate should not ever say that it's the responsibility of a victim. So people that were coming at me were completely wrong, and I was trying to explain that you misread the tweet, and then it would show me the same tweet. I'm like, you're not understanding what I'm saying. You are misreading the tweet because I'm quoting and I'm agreeing. I am on your side. I have 14 plus sisters, you know? I love my mom.
In a recent interview, Islam Makhachev insists that he will talk to Dana White while controlling Charles Oliveira at UFC 280 tomorrow. Here's the clip.
You know, Khabib was kind of famous for occasionally talking to people while he was fighting them. Mm-hmm. You've never done that, have you?
Maybe now, because before my English not very well. Maybe now but this guy doesn't speak English. I don't know.
Could you ever see yourself like talking to Dana or talking to like or you just gonna focus
Dana
on
is gonna be close. I'm gonna ask him a couple questions.
Yeah.
Because like many years he hide the title fight from me.
Yeah. Yeah. So say why did it take so long?
Yeah.
You see what's happening now?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him, hey, you make my way so long.
Petr Yan recently called Sean O'Malley a Conor McGregor wannabe, and this is O'Malley's reply.
Sean, yesterday at the media day, Peter said that you're a UFC project and a Conor McGregor wannabe. I'm curious, do the comments like that annoy you, or do they tell you that you're on the trajectory you want to be on to be an amazing superstar?
I mean, Conor's not, you know, maybe some of the stuff he's done recently, not a wannabe, but, you know, his career, he's had a pretty sweet career. So, yeah, I think it's someone, you know, not too bad to look, you know. I'm going to smash Peter. How about that? Is that a better answer?
I'm curious, this is seen as a matchup between great strikers, but what is the difference between your style of striking and Peter's?
He's 5'5". There's no way. It says he's 5'7" on the stats, but there's no way he's 5'5" or 5'7". I just believe I'm a lot better everywhere.
How do you see this fight playing out? Do you think this is one that you're going to have to dig deep and overcome some adversity, or are you going to make this look like you want to do and the Sugar Show rises again?
Ideally, I go out there, put his lights out early. That's what everyone up here wants to do. Ready for 15 minutes, though. You know, Peter's the #1 guy in the division for a reason. Arguably could be the champion right now. So, yeah.
In a recent interview, Charles Oliveira called out Alexander Volkanovski to a 2-fight challenge. Here's what he had to say. First of all, we're going to focus on what's going to happen here in this fight in particular. My timing is that we fight in Brazil afterward regardless. If we are going to make this fight happen, Charles versus Volkanovski, we can have it two ways. We're going to fight at 155 pounds, and then we are going to fight at 145 pounds at the end of the year. So we're going to fight at 2 weight divisions. Here's what Alexander had to say in response to Oliveira's offer. If there's anyone that could do it, it's me. If we get that done, let's do it. For me, yeah, I don't know if it makes too much sense, but I'm down. In a recent video uploaded to his YouTube channel, Chael Sonnen spoke about this weekend's UFC 280 fight between Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan. Here's the clip.
Suga Sean versus Petr Yan. Guys, what does a win look like in that fight? I feel like these are vastly different fronts that both guys are fighting on. But I am asking you, what is a win for Sean? I mean, if Sean is just against the narrative about him, then all he has to do is go out there and compete, right? I'm asking. What if Sean wins a round? What if it's a close fight? Sean wins a round against the #1 great guy who was the world champion. Wouldn't that take a pretty big dent into the discussion that Sean doesn't fight anybody tough and Sean doesn't have the skills? Wouldn't that be true? Now, here's another scenario. Sean's coach, Tim Welsh, came out, and Tim said that Sean has the ability to go right through Petr Yan. I believe he used the term manhandle him. But the point is, it's going to be a 15-minute fight. It's going to be 15 minutes of Sean winning. Sean O'Malley is one of the few guys that has a reach advantage, but knows how to use it. And to Tim's point, if Sean is to come out and start finding Yan early on, he just has to repeat that over and over again. And it would be very interesting if Sean did control him. It's not as though there's going to have to be some masterful game plan.
In an interview with BT Sport, TJ Dillashaw opened up about his EPO use and why he did it in the first place.
Obviously, the drugs ban from being self-inflicted. I want to get into the mentality of why, because a lot of people will look at you and see an elite level mixed martial artist. Why take those steps?
To be myself, you know. I was a shell of a man of who I was, you know, supposed to be the baddest man on the planet, drop into a weight class that my body physically wouldn't let me do, full-blown anemic, 6-8 weeks out before the fight, not wanting to wake up, not wanting to train, not feeling like I could live up to the biggest fight of my life, you know. So I took an anemia medication that I knew I couldn't, but I knew that it would get me back to where I was, you know, the fight that I wanted.
You knew the consequences though of what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of fessed up to all that, right? I've kind of manned up to the whole situation that, like, I knew going into it that I wasn't supposed to be doing it, but you know, I had I was chasing something that was like, you know, gonna line my pockets forever. It was gonna cement some more legacy, just something that my body wouldn't let me do, but my mind wanted to. Just my ego, I guess you'd say, right? Just my ego of like, I'm the best. I'm gonna get this done, you know.
When do you become at peace with it? That the decision that you made, because speaking to you right now, you've got to a point of being at peace with that, because it's you that's got to look at yourself in the mirror and be at peace with that. So when is that point?
I think that's why I came out with it so fast, right? And I came and admitted to everything right away before it was even announced, because the fact I wanted to get it behind me as soon as possible. I knew it was going to be a process no matter what. I knew the ridicule was going to come with it, but that was the easiest way for me to get it behind me, was just, it's like going to a therapist and just letting it all out, you know? So I'd say 6 months, maybe a little bit longer, around 6 months.
Dana White recently gave Charles Oliveira praise for his multiple UFC records.
I was just talking about that yesterday with the matchmakers, and it's true. And especially, you know, one to really point out, somebody who sort of flies under the radar is Charles Oliveira. When you think about it, he's on an 11-fight win streak, right? It's the second longest in lightweight history behind Khabib. He's got the record for most finishes in UFC history. He's got the record for most submissions in UFC history. He's tied for overall UFC post-fight bonuses. He's got the most Performance of the Nights awards in UFC history, most submissions in both UFC lightweight and featherweight history. The guy's a record machine.
Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up, because Khabib amassed a 13-0 record in the UFC, like you said, at the longest streak in lightweight history. It took him 8 years to do it. Charles has done this in 3 years. And if he beats Islam, that's 12 in a row in 3 years. So when do we start talking about Charles Oliveira in the same kind of vein as Khabib? I mean, Khabib will always have the undefeated record, which is always going to be a big notch on his belt. But what Charles has been doing against the level of competition he's been doing it against is incredibly impressive.
You're absolutely right. And obviously, a win over Islam would start, I think, a lot of discussion about Charles Oliveira.
In a recent interview, Khabib said he believes that Islam is on the verge of making history. Here's the clip.
Even right now, what Islam feeling before his biggest fight in his life, I can say what he feel. He feel pressure, he nervous, he's very exciting, and he feel his dream is very close. It's very close to become true, you know. And we all team, we here to help him, to push him, give him advice, share with our knowledge, with good energy, and take belt and make one more history.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.